Alrighty, hello to everybody who's in the webinar. We'll give everybody a couple of minutes here to join, and then we will go ahead and get things kicked off. All right, give another 30 seconds or so. And as mentioned in the invite you guys all received, this webinar will be recorded. So if you have to step away, you want to share it with somebody after, you will all get a recording link later this afternoon. But I think we have a good chunk of people in here, so we'll go ahead and out of respect for everybody's time, get things going. So thank you all very much for joining us this webinar today. We're talking about the new Cloudinator integration that was built to improve non-Revit workflows. We have members of both MSUITE and PypeServer on the call today. We have Ricky Bell, Senior Software Engineer over at PypeServer. And then we have Aaron representing MSUITE, Director of Customer Success here. Just a couple of housekeeping items. As mentioned, it will be recorded, and you'll all get a recording of this later this afternoon. We do have a Q&A open, so if you have any questions throughout the webinar today, go ahead and submit those. We'll do our best to leave some time at the end for questions, but if you have any in the moment, go ahead and submit them throughout. If we can get to them live, we'll do our best to do so, but again, we'll leave some time at the end to answer any questions. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get things rolling. So just quick agenda, we'll cover some of the current gaps that exist in CAD-to-Machine workflows, essentially why this integration was built. We'll give an introduction to the Cloudinator, cover some of the functionality, a quick how-to of how it works. I know we see a lot of MSUITE customers on here, so I'm sure you're curious to know how it works, how to get set up. Then we'll get into the meat and potatoes, the live demonstration. So we'll run through an actual live demo of the integration. And again, that'll probably be when you probably have some of the questions. We'll leave some time at the end, but feel free to submit those throughout. So I know, big question, why did we build this? Well, it's because we know a lot of fabricators today are still relying on legacy CAD software to create cut lists. So now this will give you greater compatibility with some of those legacy CAD solutions you're currently using. The benefit of then using the integration with MSUITE is it's going to eliminate a lot of the manual data entry that you're probably seeing currently if you are using a legacy CAD solution. We have a broad file support and machine compatibility, with which Ricky will get into a little bit here in the next couple slides. And again, through that MSUITE integration, you're going to get much better real-time tracking and visualization of what's going on with your cut lists. In addition, it's audit ready, so you're going to have superior timekeeping that you'll see through this. And it's very data driven. So again, trying to really complete the loop of BIM through all the way through, or design all the way through fabrication. So you have a good feedback loop with strong data to make decisions. And the best part, number 6 here, is it's not going to disrupt your existing workflow. So if you've been using a legacy CAD solution for a while now, this now gives you a lot greater strength in what you're currently doing without disrupting the workflows that you've been used to. So Ricky, if you want to get into a little bit about file support and machine compatibility.
Oh, absolutely. PypeServer has really built its business on being able to collect data from multiple sources, not so much, BIM sources, but wherever you're drawing, we try to get the data from them. So what we did with the Cloudinator is we took our importers for our machine software and we sort of reversed it, where our importers can now stage the data and then become an exporter to a cloud platform like MSUITE. Okay, so we're going to support PCF files, which come from multiple sources. PCD files could either be Tekla or Acorn Spool Fab. CSV files, modern Excel files, fixed files, I think are Isogen. And then we can use PDF files to really simulate on MSUITE what you would experience when you're uploading a drawing straight out of Revit. So by the time you get into MSUITE, for the most part, it looks like it came from a better CAD system like Revit. Okay. Like Matt said, I mean, there's really no manual entry. This all gets parsed straight from the files, and then we're able to pull these data files back down then from MSUITE. After you've done multiple stages of tracking, everything you're used to doing in MSUITE, we can pull them down onto your straight cutters, like a Tiger Stop, Razor Gauge, Kentucky Gauge, or even a manual straight cutter, like just a bandsaw with a computer. We can pull them down using PypeServer Lite, which is a machine software that we sell for the shop, or we can pull them down into PypeServer Enterprise, which I'm sure most of you are familiar with, which does the multiple axis plasma cutting for complex and large diameter pipe. I'll try to name all of the machine manufacturers that we support. Originally it was Watts, so we support pre-2020 Watts Mueller machines, HTG machines, let's see, Mashitech, Lone Star, Vernon NPM machines, and probably another that I'm missing. I think that covered it.
Yep. So before we actually get to this slide,
oh, there it is.
A little curious. I know we have a good number of people here on the call, so want to get a sense for how you're currently handling things. You know, what file type are you using to create cut lists? And B, what design software do you use to receive files from? For example, Plant 3D, Fabrication, CAD, MEP, Spool Fab. We'll give everybody a minute to answer those, just so we can get a sense of what people on the call right now are currently doing, and we can kind of speak to those throughout the live demonstration. So we'll give everybody 30 seconds or so to fill that out.
You should have hold music.
Yeah, needs some elevator music.
Yeah. No wrong answers here.
So seeing a lot of PCF, a lot of CSV, some PDF. Give everybody another second here to fill it out before we wrap up the poll and move on.
Yeah. This is important for us at PypeServer as well, to know if there's something that's not listed and it's a popular file format, or if there's a design software that's not listed and it's a popular design software. We dedicate hours right to that, and every time that we add a new file that we support, or a new software that we support, it will inherently become part of the MSUITE architecture to send items up to MSUITE.
Yeah, so if something's not listed there, you could drop it in the Q&A just so we have it. If you chose other, or you can always email us after the fact as well.
Yeah, good point. On that point, when you do receive the follow-up email with the recording, feel free to respond directly to that. If you have any additional questions, reach out to your account managers if you're a current MSUITE customer, and we'll make sure to answer any questions. But so that kind of covers the integration. And again, the benefit that you're going to get is you're going to be able to track every cut at a much higher, much better rate than what you might be doing currently with a legacy CAD solution that requires, again, a lot of manual entry. And we know with that comes a lot of potential for errors, things slipping through the cracks. As we kind of touched on, it'll give you a better audit ready trail of your timekeeping as well. Less guesswork, less estimates, more real data to work off of. And again, you'll get that live machine usage data as well, which could currently be missing if you're using a legacy CAD solution. So just real quick before we get into the demo, quick how it works, just to show how truly simple it is, because that's the goal, is to make it as simple as possible for customers. Just a one-time MSUITE login, click and send uploads, which we'll show you here in a bit, and then get your real-time 3D spool visualization at your assembly stations. So really just giving you much richer data to work off of. So with that, I will pass it over to you, Ricky, to go ahead and walk through the demo.
All right, my favorite part.
Here we go.
Hope you're all sitting down. Okay, so like we said in the slides, multiple flat file formats are out there floating in space, and they need to be brought in to the to sort of the MSUITE ecosystem. And we do that using this desktop application for Windows machines called PypeServer Cloudinator. Okay, the software is even cooler than the name of the software. Okay, we're able to bring in these files, PCDs, PCFs, FIX. We're able to bring them in multiple different ways. You could just browse for them by opening a Windows browser like this. You can drag them into the center, which I'm going to be doing today. You can also set up a listening folder. So if you're using something like Acorn Spool Fab is big on this. Anytime that you export your spool drawings, it's sort of hard-coded into Acorn that it just drops them all into specific folders. So the same thing with their PCD files. You could set up a listening folder for that it'll automatically get dropped into right here into the staging queue of the Cloudinator. It doesn't automatically upload them until you ask it to, and we'll go through all of that. Okay. As far as prerequisites go, you'll definitely need an MSUITE login. So that is handled right here under Service Connections, and you would log in through MSUITE right here. And you do need a PypeServer Cloud login. This is a free login that it's just required to use the basic functions of PypeServer Connect Cloudinator, just so we know who is using it and we can have just a tiny bit of control and visibility. Okay, so 2 logins there. It's easy enough on PypeServer Cloud to register for an account. There will be a link. If you're not logged in, there's a link right there on the login page that takes you right to the registration page. We approve your account, and then you're off to the races. Okay. As far as bringing in items, by default, things will just work. If you just drag a PCF right into the middle of the screen, you'll get what you're looking for. It parsed through everything in this PCF. Let's take a look at the PCF. It parsed through everything in here, grabbed all of the flanges, pipe, T set on it treats like pipe as well. It grabs all the pieces that you really need to fabricate, and then displays them in a way that you can look at all of the metadata that goes along with them. You could pick any of them out of the bunch here and hit this preview button and see the full data set of what we're uploading. Okay, now this one is in metric, and it is noted at the bottom somewhere that the units are metric as well. So don't be alarmed if you're using a mixed metric or a metric file. But we're grabbing the material and the name, and there's a whole bunch of opportunities here to improve the data as well. Like if we know that a particular end has a, let's see, a cut template name, maybe it says weld or something like that, we can really improve the data by utilizing these end conditions. By dropping in, if we see that an end condition comes in as weld, we can provide a little bit more information to the system that'll tell you exactly what bevel angle weld means, or if it says beveled. And you can have as many of these in your database as you want, whatever lines up with your content, whatever came from the files. Okay. Speaking of just PCFs, we have some opportunities in here to load an example PCF and then do some custom mapping. We've got extra fields in here, custom field 1 through 5, or customer, or really anything that you want to overwrite. Name is popular, notes is popular, that you could have it look at the data that's in the PCF and say, like, if the item code is available, go ahead and drop that into custom field 1. And then if the item code is not available, put in the spool identifier or something like that. And then you can set up a hierarchy of data being mapped to specific fields. So it's not just showing you what's in the PCF, it allows you to actually improve the output by mapping different fields. Okay, very similar if you were to use a CSV file. You would load a source example CSV file, and then you can do some cool mapping with this. Like, what is my, grab your headers and map them to the properties in PypeServer that they belong. Okay, we will help you get this set up, so don't feel like you're on your own if you choose to download this. Also, PypeServer Connect Cloudinator is free for any PypeServer customers for machine software like PypeServer Lite or Enterprise, or any MSUITE customers, of course. Okay. Once you have something in here and staged, and I'll use, I don't know, maybe this one. Maybe something that looks better. There's a good one. I'll load that one all by itself. Once you have something in here that's staged, 22 cut items out of a single PCF, all decent materials as well, standardized materials. And you can see that we're grabbing more than just the cut items: elbows, fittings, flanges, T's, valves. It's all there. Basically what you would do is you select them and you click on upload. Now it'll remember your last uploader. You see MSUITE is listed here. PypeServer Cloud will kind of always be here, and it's there as an option, but you can basically ignore it. For the most part, it'll tell you that you don't have a cloud license. Don't worry about it. But MSUITE will be your selected uploader, let's call it. And you have the options here to create jobs, create packages, create drawings, or upload items into existing drawings. Okay, so we tried to really spread the net wide as far as what your capabilities are. I'm going to go for broke here and select a new job, which triggers all these fields for the new job. It also triggers all these fields for creating a brand new package, and then selecting a PDF to be your drawing file. Okay. I don't know how many of these I've done. We'll put in my favorite number. And then something like that. Now, this is where you would select your workflow. Typically, you would not have this many workflows to pick from, but this is a development account, so we test it all. The PypeServer workflow right now really has items get uploaded and approved, and then it splits them out to different machines based on their pipe size. Everything over 6 inches. This is all written in the MSUITE logic, but everything over 6 inches will go to a station called PypeServer. Everything under 6 inches will go to a station called Cut Table. Now, your defining factors there will probably be different, but the majority of the machines that we support, as far as plasma cutting goes, supports 2 or 2.5 inch as the minimum. And then anything larger than 2.5 or 3 inches, a pain to pick up by hand and put onto a tire stop.
So Ricky, I'll just add, he did an excellent job of explaining that as far as everyone who's on here who knows our conditions and our logic, and this workflow being only cut. So if you did have a material receiving stage in there or something prior, you would run that through MSUITE as normal, and then when it's available at these stages, that's when it would show up as available in the PypeServer end. So same, we just removed that step to make this a little bit smoother for the demo and faster. But
yep, thank you, Aaron. Okay, selecting a drawing file. I'm just going to pick one of my PDFs. Really nothing to talk about there. You will see this PDF again once the process is complete on MSUITE. So it's as simple as that. I'll click on upload. It's going to go through. It checks to see that there's not already a job with that same name and that same job number. If it passes that, it goes and creates a package, and then creates the drawing file, and then uploads all the parts to the drawing file. So it created this project, uploaded the 22 parts, numbers match, and that's it. Optionally, you can have it remove your uploaded items. It'll just remove them from the staging area, much like doing this. So you can move on, save you a click. Okay. On the MSUITE interface, I'm going to go to pending approvals, and I'm going to pretend I know what I'm doing. For the most part, I've run this many times. I think I got it, but luckily we got our MSUITE folks that can help me out when I get lost. So here's our number 3 test project, test package 1. It's got 1 drawing in it. It says my name is Mike Middleton. He is one of our other senior developers. Very talented guy. He just is not the guy on the call right now. We share an account. So I'll go ahead and approve that. I've already gone through and made sure that my materials, anything I've uploaded, because this is brand new stuff. It could be brand new to MSUITE. They've never seen the material string. I've already gone through and made sure that my materials are marked as is cut, which is something that we see from the pipe server side pretty often when we deal with MSUITE customers. It's mapping and getting MSUITE familiar with your content. Okay. Now from here, I guess I'll call on Aaron maybe. I need this stuff to show up at my stages, or at least you can show me that it will show up at my stages.
Yes, but it's not showing up in pending since you pushed.
I've already approved it.
Oh, perfect. So after approved, it will automatically go to those stages because you chose a workflow that already has. So they should be available on their pipe server side at this time. You can go to the jobs table if you want to show it quickly,
Yeah.
or in my work, either one will get the point across to this crew here. But
Gotcha. Gotcha. Oh, here it is.
yep.
Right there. Fascinating stuff here. Maybe I'll leave it here because then we can see
Yeah, then you can update and see that its progression. Yeah.
10% complete.
Why don't
Yeah.
you click on the one package just to dial it down one more level?
This
Yep.
one right here or up here?
Either one, but if you click on one package, it's just one click. If you click that, it's 2, so whichever.
Oh.
Yep, perfect.
Take the senior group.
Yes. So right here, and then yeah, as you do, you'll see that percent complete.
Yeah, 22 work items. Before we get into processing them, I do want to mention that the PipeServer Connect family of products is bigger than just Cloudinator. We have one for Revit that may or may not apply with this presentation today, but we do have one for AutoCAD CAD MEP. We have one for Plant 3D, Tekla, SDS2, Inventor, Advanced Steel. Okay, these are all platforms that you could design in, and then I'll use Plant 3D as an example. You could export files out of there and use the Cloudinator to send them up to MSUITE. So here I have a Plant 3D model. Okay, a lot of the same tools apply. You can do lots of mappings. You can do the end conditions, so you can give some real bevel angles to something that doesn't necessarily call it out. But the idea here is that you can export these items out of any of the softwares that we currently support. And when you get to a screen that looks like this, you can click on Save Local, which just gives you the opportunity to save a local file. Okay. With that local file, you minimize Plant 3D. I have it right here. That can be dragged into the Cloudinator as well, as if it were a PCF or a PCD or anything like that. And now you can use all of the data that we've parsed from Plant 3D, 159 items that you don't have to type in manually anymore, upload them to MSUITE, the same exact steps that we just did for a PCF file. So I wanted to make sure that that was on the record, that if you have those one-off projects, if you get a structural project in Tekla or SDS2 and you need to process it, follow the same steps as what you're used to. Okay, so let's move on to receiving these pieces. This is PipeServer Lite. This is another Windows application, typically runs on like a Microsoft Surface tablet or a laptop next to your cut station. It could be a manual bandsaw. It could be a fully powered Tiger Stop or a Razor Gauge or a fully automated Kentucky Gauge. These are all machines that we currently support. Again, a list that is constantly growing. You would bring these items in as if they came through MSUITE from Revit. Really, at this point, there's not much of a difference in the workflow. Okay, I clicked on import. And then there's a number of importers that we accept data from. But if everything's set up right, we should be seeing the new project that I just uploaded. And we'll be able to see the pieces that need to get cut in this package. I'm not sure why that was only one part. I may use a different one for an example. I'll bring in some of our legacy stuff so you can see it. I bet I didn't map my materials correctly, if I were to take a guess.
I was just taking a look from our back end side, as everyone knows our conditions and everything have to the steps to align. So I was just making sure things are showing up there. For that job you pushed, I do see 7 cuts at PypeServer. For the job that ends in 309, package 001.
Oh, I think I know what might be going on.
Okay.
So within PypeServer Lite, in our connection to MSUITE, we can choose who we are, which stage. I bet
There
the
you go.
majority of those pieces went to PypeServer because they were just large diameter stuff, and only one piece came down to cut table. Okay, not a big deal. I'll bring them all in because you can pretend you can have multiple personalities here with PypeServer Lite and act as multiple stages. And I bet if I brought the same stuff in, I would get all of the large diameter stuff. But I've been wrong before. There we go. There's the remainder of the pieces. Okay, so after a successful import, it automatically nests these pieces onto a piece of defined stock at the bottom. If you see this orange piece here, matches this orange piece at the top. The next line is the gray piece. And then you can see any scrap right there. Now we could talk about PypeServer Lite because it's one of my babies that I work on. We could talk about it for hours, but in short, it handles the nesting automatically. It controls the machine. It prints really beautiful labels with all of the metadata that you were able to map in the previous steps. We can print QR codes that can work with the MSUITE app. And then any of that metadata that we put in here, it's as easy as just dragging something from left to right, changing the size, spinning it around however you want, and customizing your labels. And it works with really any printer that Windows will work with. So a lot of times it's Zebra printers using ZPL, but we also support non-ZPL printers that you can turn this off right here and print to any raster DPI-based kind of printer. Okay. As far as machine control goes, here's the list currently of all the ones that we support. And even when you're in this, in one of these, there's some really cool stuff that you can do with automation, where we're automating cut cycles, we're moving after the cut, we're unloading the drop, we're restocking automatically. Cast iron machines like to do retraction first and back off distance. This is all covered. Machine control is our bag, and we're very good at it. Okay. The other items, I can bring in a lot of those items into PypeServer Enterprise. This is our flagship software. This runs the multi-axis plasma cutters for large diameter pipe and complex cuts. Okay. If I were to go to the import tab here, we've had MSUITE in there for years and years, and we utilize the same technology and the same pathways to be able to bring in parts directly from MSUITE. So let me see if I can find, I think I called it test package 001. Sure, it has 22 parts, but really only, I believe 7 of them are going to match this stage. That looks like 7 pieces. Okay. If I had an example where pipes were leading into each other and they had saddles and olets or laterals, things like that. If anyone knows PypeServer, I mean, we're good at interpreting those and getting exactly the steps that the machine needs to take to be able to cut those. You'd be able to see them all listed here. I think all of my examples are just all straight by straight, though. So not a lot of fireworks there. But the idea here is just to bring them in. And then you could schedule and nest them all together just by filtering down to exactly where we left them. Let's see. This is the one. So I could take this 10-inch pipe right here. Well, these are bad examples. There's a little bit of setup that has to go on with PCFs. PCFs don't inherently have the right outer diameter or the wall thickness. We do have that covered. We have lookup tables on our side that will match it to the schedule of pipe that is spelled out here in either the name or the material. And it would replace the outer diameter with the 10.625 or 875, whatever it is. And then the wall thickness. And then things would properly appear in here. Okay, then you follow the steps that you would typically take to nest them and send them to the machine. But I think those is a little beyond the scope of today. I think that's really all I had. Guys from my team, you are welcome to tell me what I missed. Or just give me kudos. That's cool
Did
too.
you mention work timers and status reporting?
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second. All of our software that integrates with MSUITE requires an MSUITE login, of course, and it requires an active shift. When we query your user, if you don't have an active shift started, we prompt you, do you want to start it? You can do it right from our software, which is the equivalent of hitting that green button in the upper right on the MSUITE interface. But as you cut items, it does start and stop MSUITE work timers. So if you've got Bob at the machine and he's logged in, he started his shift, he's cutting this time spent on this really gets tracked against the job, gets tracked against the stage, and gets tracked against Bob. And you can really utilize a lot of the things MSUITE's fantastic at, which is time reporting and being big brother. Great. Anything else I missed?
Do have one question from a familiar face. Can they select multiple spools and upload at the same time?
You can, but they will all be under the same drawing. So you're digging your own grave here. If you were to do multiple spools, drag all of these in and click on upload, well, you have to select them first. The only reason you would probably do this is if your drawing file is actually more like a fabrication map, something a little more broad. But really, it was designed really to do one spool at a time. If it's 2 pieces or 200 pieces, that's really up to you. And when I say spool, I mean drawing. So I could send these 75 pieces to an existing drawing. It's probably a sloppy way to handle my work, but you can do it.
Appreciate the answer there.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody who's on the call, if you got questions, now's the time to go ahead and submit, and we'll get to any questions that you might have right now. So just click the Q&A button and we will answer them as they come in. Give everybody a minute in case they had any questions to submit. So far, no others, Ricky. So I think it's so wonderfully demonstrated that they're good to go. Here's one from Mike. Is uploading a PCD the same as a PCF?
Absolutely. Yep, I have some PCD files here. Now, the code path that follows in the background that you guys don't really care about is different. But in the end, yeah, you can see these came from, I'm not sure what I did there. These came from Acorn Spool Fab, and I'm able to extract the cut items right from there. Same idea, select them, upload. Okay. There's no mapping that goes along with PCD files. PCDs typically have all of their data pretty much exposed, and we found a home for every piece of data on there. PCDs will be slightly different than PCFs because we already have the reliable wall thickness and the outer diameter for these. So it's a little smoother coming from PCD than it is from PCF.
One thing I think would be good for folks to know is, these Cloudinator, is a living piece of software. We will add data file formats to it over time. For example, the .fix from Isogen was added as a customer request. So if there are file formats that you folks use or looking at using that we haven't talked about today or aren't on this list, let us know and we can look into it and potentially add it to the Cloudinator.
Great point. Another couple questions here. What you uploaded from within Plant 3D, were those spools or isometrics?
I uploaded line numbers. So these are all line numbers in Plant 3D. I think I can use these tools here to show which ones. It kind of highlights different ones as I click around. Okay. With the application here, when it's connected to a design software like Plant 3D, you can upload them this way by defining line numbers, getting the list, checking them, and clicking on export. Or you can just switch over to model selection and just draw a box around it and then export it that way. Where'd my mouse pointer go? There it is. So a couple different ways, but yeah, the equivalent of spools, I think I'm using air quotes. You can't see my camera, but using air quotes for spools in Plant 3D are line numbers, and that's how they get defined. Hope that answers that question.
Another one here, a couple coming in. Can you briefly elaborate on your ability with advanced steel and shape objects like W-beam, HSS, etc.?
Right. I don't have an example of advanced steel up right now, but we got into the advanced steel game for handrail because we typically will work in round profiles, but we do parse through all of the beams for advanced steel. So if it is an I-beam or a different shape, angle iron, something like that, we can parse through the ends of them, but we're not going to be able to automatically set up how to cut those ends. There's a lot that goes into structural, but we can get you the lengths at least that you'll be able to get your structural components out of advanced steel and into a cut list easily and up through MSUITE. When it comes to handrail, because it's a round profile and it can be sent to any number of our plasma cutting machines, we do infer automatically which ends need to be put on there. If it's a 90 connected to it, 2 pipes at a 90, we'll put on the correct 45-degree bevel on each. If it's size on size, 1.5 to 1.5 handrail, we'll put the saddle on the branch piece there. And there's modes within the importer to handle all of that. Like, should I put a saddle on an intersecting pipe? And if so, should I use the outer diameter or the inner diameter? So set on or set in. Should I create holes at the intersections and allow size on size? Or is this handrail, which doesn't have any liquid or steam running through it, I can do fittings only, which just an unfortunate name for a mode that is basically meant for handrail and structural components that say, I'm going to conform the branch piece to the main, but the main does not need a hole in it because there's nothing running through it like it's a piping system. Oof, that was a lot of words. just for that. But I hope that answers your advanced steel question. And it really is the same answer for SDS2 and Tekla as well.
Couple more questions. What visually is brought in from Plant 3D into MSUITE for the fitting stages?
Well, you would have two different ways that you can see things. Let's actually just do it. Why not? I've got time. You've got time. Plant 3D export. I'll go ahead and select everything and then send it up to MSUITE. You would basically see the drawing PDF. That's really the first step right there. So let's take a couple things here and create a new drawing under here. Maybe it's spool 24. Okay, so same steps. This drawing PDF is going to be visible under the My Work tab. Here's where I'm getting into an area I don't understand, but I know exists. Okay, so you'd see something like this. This is just an example PDF that I happen to have. So here's the first one. But to be able to see a 3D visual of this, that would be at the PypeServer Enterprise station. And what I could do is I'll bring down the same test package that we did before. And that reminds me that I totally skipped over a specific button. If you want to see a 3D representation of this before you import it, we have a thing called the ISO viewer, which will show you what was in there. This just happens to be, I guess, a riser of sorts. But it shows you roughly what it looks like before we bring it in. And then after it's brought in, it's either on the design or the schedule tab. I was pretty sure we had a viewer here as well. It may not be enabled in mine, but we do have a viewer. You can ask us offline about it, and we'll make sure that it's enabled for your station as well. But it's a very similar viewer, but it shows you what it looks like when everything's parsed. Like this particular mitered elbow would show you all of its sister and brother parts that make up the elbow. Wasn't 100% prepared for that question.
Your red download an update arrow is illuminated, so it's probably a
Yeah.
click and 5 minutes later
Yeah.
available to you.
Yeah. This is some handrail that had come through, by the way. I'm sure if I click through long enough, I'll see some really interesting things.
Another question here, Ricky. Will it work with other non-metallic piping with other ODs such as nylon?
I'm not familiar with that. I'd have some follow-up questions for that. And when you say work with, I mean, if it's in a PCF file and we can parse it, yeah, it'll work. It'll send it all up to MSUITE and everything will be great. But when you bring it down, what sort of machine do you cut nylon with, if I'm even saying that correctly?
And from the MSUITE side, as long as that particular material is marked as cuttable and or meets whatever conditions connect to your cut stage, it would pass. So
yeah. If that material is just typically cut, like straight cut on a miter saw or a bandsaw or even some sort of roller, then your solution for that would be everything we just talked about, and then PypeServer Lite would be the one that does the nesting, labeling, and cutting for you. These are good questions.
Yeah, a lot of great questions from the crowd here. Appreciate it, everybody. So that is all that I see from a question standpoint. Again, remember, you'll be getting a recording. If you had another question come to mind or didn't want to ask in a public forum like this, reach out. We'll make sure to get any questions that you have answered. We're real excited to bring this new integration to the market because we understand how much of the market is still relying on legacy CAD. And so hopefully this is another powerful tool to add to your arsenal that's going to put some time back in your pockets. With that said, if there's no other questions that I'm seeing, we'll go ahead and adjourn. Thank you to everybody who joined on this webinar. Hopefully you got some great insights. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to just reach out to your account managers or respond directly to the recording email that you will get. Just give it a couple hours for it to upload. Other than that, thank you very much, Ricky, David, Derek, Aaron. I appreciate you guys being on the call. Thanks so much, Ricky, for giving everybody an awesome demo, and really looking forward to seeing the customers utilizing this and building more strong. So thank you very much.
Yeah, you too.
Thank
Thanks, Matt.
you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Cheers. See you guys.